When we think about keeping our brains healthy, our minds usually jump to things like crossword puzzles, maybe learning a new instrument. But what if one of the most powerful tools for protecting your brain is something you're already doing every single day? Today, we're diving into the pretty amazing science behind how a simple chat can be a long-term shield for your mind. I mean, we're all pretty focused on workouts for our bodies, right? But what if the single best exercise for your brain, the thing that keeps it sharp, flexible, and strong, was just that, a conversation? It almost sounds too easy, doesn't it? But the science behind this idea is absolutely fascinating, and it's really solid. So let's break down how this actually works. Okay, so first things first, we kind of need to change how we think about socializing. This isn't just about feeling good or getting emotional support, though that's great too. This is about giving your brain a genuine high-intensity workout. And this is a really, really important distinction. See, we tend to think of connection as something passive, like getting a hug. And that's part of it. But it's also a full-on active process for your brain. Every single time you chat, listen, or even argue a little, you're lighting up and exercising all these different neural circuits. Just stop and think about what's really going on when you talk to someone. You have to pull up memories on the spot, right? That's your memory getting a workout. You have to focus on what they're saying and filter out distractions. That's your attention span being trained. And all the while, you're shaping your thoughts into coherent sentences, which is a constant exercise for your language skills. It's basically a full cognitive circuit training session every single time. So what does this brain workout actually look like under the hood? Let's get into the nitty-gritty of how talking literally builds a physically stronger, more resilient brain. Picture it like a symphony orchestra inside your skull. You've got the memory section, the language section, the part that reads emotions, and for a good conversation to happen, they all have to play together, perfectly in sync. It's not a simple task at all. It's an incredibly complex, coordinated performance. And here's the real payoff, the big one. The research on this is so clear. Consistently engaging your brain in this way, making that mental orchestra perform regularly, is directly linked to slowing down cognitive decline as we get older. It's one of the most powerful defenses we have. But it's not just about the wiring and the structure. There's also this amazing chemical reaction that happens. Socializing literally bathes our brains in chemicals that make us feel good and protect us from stress. First up is oxytocin. You've probably heard of it. It gets called the bonding hormone, or the cuddle chemical. When we have a really positive social moment, our brain releases this stuff and it immediately helps to dial down stress and just makes us feel, connected. And then you've got dopamine. This is the brain's reward system. A really great chat can trigger a little hit of dopamine, which not only feels fantastic, but also acts as a teacher for our brain, telling it, hey, that was good, let's do that again. It reinforces the very behavior of seeking connection. So what you end up with is this incredible, powerful, positive feedback loop. You connect with someone, your brain releases these feel-good, stress-busting chemicals, and that positive feeling makes you want to connect even more. It's like your brain's own built-in defense system against the really damaging long-term effects of being lonely. Okay, I can already hear some of you thinking, but I'm an introvert. This sounds absolutely exhausting. Well, here's the best part. Getting these amazing brain benefits does not mean you have to become a social butterfly overnight. Not at all. And this honestly is such a relief to hear, right? It's not about the sheer number of people you know or how many parties you go to. It's all about the quality and the consistency of your connections. We're talking about the simplest things here. That regular phone call you have with a friend, sitting down to share a meal with someone you care about, even just a short, friendly conversation with a neighbor or the person at the coffee shop. These tiny moments really, really add up, and they have a huge impact on your brain's health over time. So, if you're going to remember just one thing from all of this, what should it be? What's the big takeaway? It's really that simple, but it's also so profound. Just like your body needs good food and your brain needs sleep, it also needs connection to thrive. This isn't just a nice to have. It's a fundamental ingredient for a healthy, happy, long-lasting mind. So I'll leave you with that question. It doesn't have to be a big thing. A quick text, a phone call, maybe grabbing a coffee with someone. How are you going to feed your brain today? We all go through it at some point, right? A major life change that just feels like you're caught in a storm. But the good news is, there are totally ways to find your anchor. And today, that's exactly what we're going to dive into. So let's get right to it. The big question: why do these huge moments in life feel so incredibly overwhelming? It doesn't matter if it's a change you planned for or one that just blindsided you. That emotional weight is real. And it turns out there's a pretty clear reason for it that has everything to do with our own biology. First up, let's just break down the challenge of change itself. I mean, what kind of transitions are we talking about here? What are the things that are most likely to knock us off balance? Well, think about some of the big ones, especially as we get a little older. Things like retirement, dealing with unexpected health changes, the stress of moving, or even when family roles shift, like when you suddenly become a caregiver. Any one of these is a huge source of stress all on its own, because it messes with our routines and even our sense of who we are. Okay, so what is actually going on inside our brains and our bodies during these times? I promise it's not just all in your head. There's a real biological reason these changes feel so hard. And you guessed it, it all comes down to stress. The whole thing boils down to this idea of a heightened nervous system. The best way to think about it is like this. Imagine your body has an internal alarm system, right? Well, during a major life change, that alarm can get stuck in the on position. It just keeps ringing, flooding your system with stress hormones like cortisol and making you super sensitive to, well, everything. And you can really see the difference here. On one side, you've got that regulated state. That's when you feel balanced, calm, resilient, your normal self. But a big transition can shove you right over into that heightened state, where you're just swimming in stress hormones, feeling emotionally raw, and dealing with this crushing sense of uncertainty. Honestly, it's just an exhausting place to be. But, and this is a big but, here is the good news. There's a really powerful, science-backed way to get yourself back to that calm, regulated state. And it all comes down to one simple thing: the power of connection. It sounds almost too simple, but it's also incredibly profound. Social support, just connecting with other people, literally helps regulate your body's stress response. See, it's not just a nice distraction, it's a biological fix. It actually tells our brains to release chemicals like oxytocin, which is the total opposite of cortisol. It's the stuff that calms that blaring alarm system down. And this quote it nails it. Think about it. Having someone help you pack boxes when you're moving is great, right? That's practical help. But what the research shows is that the feeling of being truly seen and understood by someone else, that can be just as important, maybe even more so, for our emotional well-being. So how exactly just talking to someone help? Well, it works in a few really important ways. It gives you some much-needed perspective, gets you out of your own head. It reassures you that what you're feeling is normal. It cuts down on that awful feeling of uncertainty, and it actually helps your brain process the whole situation more calmly. All right, so we get it. Connection is the key. But what does that actually look like in real life? How do we put it into practice? That brings us to our final section, some super simple, actionable habits for finding that calm. And look, you don't have to make some big, complicated plan. It can be as simple as these 3 things. Step 1, just check in with a friend. A text, a quick call, grab a coffee, that's it. Step 2, think about joining a group. Could be anything, a book club, a walking group, or even a support group that's focused on whatever you're going through. And third, and this is so important, just maintain your regular social contact. When we feel overwhelmed, our first instinct is to pull away, but that's actually when we need those connections the most. If you take away just one single thing from our chat today, let it be this right here. Calm isn't something you just find by yourself. It's something that actually grows through your connection with other people. It's an active thing, a shared thing. So I'll leave you with one final question, and this isn't just some random thought. It's a little call to action for you. Thinking about your own life right now, who is one person you could reach out and connect with today to start growing some of that calm?